Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO.
Well, we certainly hope it is a happy and meaningful Memorial Day weekend to one and all. Thank you for joining Missoula Real Estate Today. A return guest, hadn't been here in quite a while, though, Brian Dirnberger, owner of Montana Glass. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good to see you. So I think it has been, 13 or 14 months for you, Brian. So want to do the get acquainted part, of course, how long you've been with Montana Glass and what your position entails.
Yeah, absolutely. So Montana Glass was started in 1971. My family got into it in 1985 when my dad moved up from Colorado and bought the business. He owned it till 99 when I took over and been doing it ever since. We do quite a bit, both commercial and residential glass, and I've been doing everything from making screens to installing windows to doing commercial work. So I've pretty much seen most of Missoula grow over the last 25 years.
Yeah. What was the appeal back in the 80s to your dad? A business opportunity here to move from Colorado, and what was the driving force behind that?
Well, I think he was just looking at getting out of the busy area of Denver. He had done banking for about 20 years, tried his hand in a couple, 2-3 little businesses down there. His dad just recently had passed away and left him a little bit of money, and he wanted to invest that into something, and found Montana Glass here in Missoula and has enjoyed it ever since.
Whether it was your choice or not, did you find yourself interested in it as a free labor little kid?
No, exactly. Yeah. So I started off in high school tearing apart crates doing all the labor work that I'm putting my kids through now. So we worked through high school, a little bit of college. The goals were more to get into business financing somewhere else, but just worked out after college to get in and take over the business. He was ready to transition out, and I was all ready to transition in.
Yeah. Paid dues for about 15 years there before got the keys to the car. What do you really like about what you do, Brian? What drew you to that profession, other than kind of not a lot of choice there? It was a family move and everything, but beyond that.
No, I enjoy customers. I enjoy even employees that we've had. A couple of them have been around 15, almost 20 years. Wow. We just, we're a family. We try to do things together through the summer and always in the winter for our Christmas dinners. It's not work, it's an enjoyable time going every day. We see projects of all kinds, from little broken screen clips all the way up to a large commercial window that has to be replaced off of a lift. I mean, it's a huge variety of different stuff that we see every day.
Yeah. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. My guest, Brian Dirnberger, owner of Montana Glass here in Missoula. Brian, since it is Diane of Windermere's show, she's the sponsor. Your relationship with Diane and other realtors, where might your paths cross?
Well, I've known Diane now, I think, 25, 30 years.
Wow.
We met in the Missoula Home Builders Association when I was first doing sales for new construction. We always worked on projects together that Missoula Home Builders would put together, parade of homes, things like that. And just over the years, we have just done a lot of things back and forth, whether she needed our help in repairing something for a customer or hers, or we needed to send somebody to buy a house her way. We go back and forth for many years.
Yeah. This is kind of a broad brush question. I typed that down. I thought, it seems a little vague here, but the long list of products Montana Glass can offer, we've got plenty of time if there's some that you want to, go into detail about. I know it's a lengthy list.
Well, so there's a lot of little parts and pieces that come from windows 30, 40, 50 years old. And so a lot of times it's tough for people to find those parts and pieces. That's a specialty that we have. We have a couple wholesalers that if it's an Anderson from 30 years old, we have outlets to be able to supply that. If it's a Clausen window that was really popular for years here, we have parts and pieces for that. So those are some of the little specialty things that we've developed over time as people have needed them. We found resources to be able to provide them, and in a lot of other stores, they haven't gotten to that point where they can offer that product or have found ways to find where that product is.
What would that include? What do you mean? Would that be like a locking latch?
Exactly.
Or,
locking latch, crank hardware for a casement or a crank out window. Again, screen clips, mirror clips. I mean, there are just a lot of little 25-cent, dollar products out there that we're able to find or know where to source anyways.
All right. Well, all you listeners out there with older homes and you've got that window that's got kind of a nuisance thingy attached to it, and you thought, well, there's no hope for this. That's one reason to go to Montana Glass. What other kind of products like that do you offer?
So out of our shop, we rebuild screens or fix new screens. We see that a lot of times in rentals or when things are opening up in springtime, when people are trying to get their windows open and they got stuck and a little screen got bent trying to take it in or out. We do those repairs typically within a week. So it's kept our shop busy. That's one of the things I started off back when I was in high school. They called me the screen master. I was in my little room.
Master.
Yeah,
Whoa,
well,
master.
When you have 30 to 40 screens in a day, that's something that you master over time. So, yes.
Did not know I was in the presence of a master. That's a pretty cool deal there. Brian Dirnberger, owner of Montana Glass, this week's guest on Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk KGVO. What makes new windows such a great investment in people's homes? That's, people are trying to cut costs, trim an expense here and there. That's probably not a good place to start. But what makes new windows such a great investment?
Well, so energy efficiency is always our key, is getting something that's a little bit better insulator. Typically, low-E coatings on glass are what's developed over the last several years. So we've graduated from old wood windows in the 1940s, 1950s to aluminum windows, then to vinyl windows. And now, just as vinyl windows have continued for the last 20 years, the low-E coatings have gotten better and better. Okay. And so that's how we make your house a little more efficient, lower that heating and cooling bill. And in some times you get extra benefits like less traffic noise, less exterior noise, because that double pane glass will save that exterior noise. There's some products out there that you can do low maintenance to where you don't have to wash it as much. It just weeps the water right off of it. There's all kinds of little things that they're doing with glass these days that make them better efficiency and easier to use.
I got to admit, I was familiar with wood and vinyl. I don't think I'd ever heard of aluminum windows. Aluminum. But what was that like? Yeah,
it was a thermally broken aluminum frame that was very popular. The Summit windows out of Spokane, they had supplied, you'll see them all over town, a lot of multi-family homes, smaller homes. They were the inexpensive option to wood for many years.
Wow. All right. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. My guest, Brian Dirnberger, owner of Montana Glass here in Missoula. You have a glass shop. Brian, what all goes on in there?
We do. So it's on the north side of town, 550 Hawthorne Street, just off of Broadway. We're sandwiched right between the Oaks Fresh Market and our favorite Poverello Center.
Right.
Now, our thing in the last 5 years is it looks a little bit rougher in the neighborhood to come in and shop, but we're still definitely safe, still definitely serving customers. It's just our neighbors are a little bit more on the needy side these days.
Sure. And are there some buildings around Missoula where you've been able to really showcase your work, businesses that we might recognize, that you drive by and go, man, we knocked it out of the park there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the first two that come to mind are more commercial work, and obviously commercial is going to be the one that everybody notices first.
Yes.
You've got the GLR building that's I think a 5-6 story building down on Broadway next to the courthouse. About the same time, or the year or two after we did that, we did the Palace Apartments right across the street, which is more a wood-clad product. So we did commercial on one side of the street and more of a residential style window on the other side of the street. But I mean, we've seen a lot of projects. We've seen the Millennium Building, that 9-story that's down by the river downtown. Southgate Mall, we've done a lot of work there, and their 5-story building there. But some of the neater historic ones kind of come to mind. Just this last year, the Ladon Ranch out, the county was refurbishing that out just off of Expressway exit. We refurbished that with a bunch of wood windows and kind of looking at doing the same thing at the 9 Mile Ranger Station. We're going to be replacing some windows up there. So those historical ones kind of, I don't know, have a sweet spot in my mind because they've been around for so long, and I'm glad to add to their history.
Yeah. My guess is you have really, really got to know your stuff when you submit a bid. I mean, it's you're not when you're talking about windows, you're not just putting one here and one there. They become a really, really important piece of whatever building, whatever structure, whatever business is involved, and that's just got to be. You got to be a good numbers guy, don't you? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Brian Dirnberger is my guest on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. And I want to say thank you to some of Diane's marketing partners that help bring you the show every week. They are Miles Link at Opportunity Bank of Montana and Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage. And back to Brian Dirnberger at Montana Glass. I got a little sidetracked there, but I was asking about the bid process. That's got to be a pretty intense, precise deal.
Well, so a lot of times the architect puts out spec book and plans that we have to meet. And so what we do is research with the contractor everything it comes to do that bid.
Right.
So we find the product that they're specifying. We come up with the pricing, put it together, get it to the general contractor. So yeah, there's quite a bit involved working with architects and contractors in order to put those bids together. The residential bids are a little bit easier, quicker and more homeowner driven. We go out on a weekly basis and talk with the customers as to what their needs are. Is it just repairing fogged up windows? Is it replacing their crank hardware? Or is it replacing the entire window because they want more efficiency? So our salesman goes out weekly, talks to them, gets a bid together with them within typically 24, 48 hours. And after the go-ahead, we just get that scheduled.
Yeah.
So like this time of year, we're just getting into summer.
Sure.
Our installers typically are at least a month to 2 months out just because we get so much work this time of year. So a lot of times Sean or whoever's going out to do that estimate that day will let them know this is what we're looking at. If it's a project that's going to take a month, 2 months, or if it's going to be something quicker, it's just a replacement glass, then it'll take 2 weeks. Yeah. But all that stuff happens right directly with the customer on Wednesdays.
That's a real important expectation to manage, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do not overpromise and underdeliver on deadlines.
Absolutely.
You know, besides the materials you were talking about, the aluminum and vinyl and wood, anything else in glass technology that is that's changed over the years? What do you feel has made it better than it was, say, 10 years ago or since '99 when you took over the business? Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Low E glass keeps improving. When I first took over, it was just double pane glass. It was 2 pieces of clear glass sealed together that would fog up over time because the seal broke. Now they're getting better sealants to make them last a little bit longer. They're getting a lot better coatings to make that glass more efficiency. Low E is just a coating that they spray onto the glass that in some cases, it's usually a purple or a greenish hue that you really can't see unless you're looking for. That just it blocks that radiant heat or coolant as it's coming through that double pane glass.
Once those windows get badly, fogged up like the way you're describing, is there just no hope for them at that point?
There isn't. Yeah, it's the water mixes with the sealant and puts a film onto the glass on the inside. And once it's there, you can't take that glass apart and clean it. You have to just replace it with a new one. Yeah.
Right. What are some very popular items these days? I mean, you got to keep up with trends, things that customers see at maybe a friend or family member's house or wherever, popular items, things homeowners are really interested in having in their houses and offices,
Sure.
these days.
Well, so you're looking at a lot more heavy glass. So in shower doors, those are the ones that we really have to stay up to date on as far as how they look, the colors that you're getting into the shower door, how much glass versus frame you want in your shower door. What we're finding right now is a lot of black finishes, not much aluminum around the perimeter to hold that in for a shower door.
Okay.
And then same thing in office partitions. A lot of people are looking at, instead of being in a cubicle, they want to be more in a glass partition where it seals them off. They still have their privacy to talk on the phone, but they don't feel sectioned off in a little area. They're able to look around through the office conference rooms. You see a lot of heavy glass going into those. That's really popular, is heavy glass interior for both homes and commercial.
Wow. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate on News Talk KGVO. On this Memorial Day weekend, my guest, Brian Dirnberger, owner of Montana Glass here in Missoula, and asked you about some of customers' inquiries. Some of the innovative newer products Brian Montana Glass features right now that you're especially pleased with.
Well, I would say these last couple of years we've been dealing more with supply chain issues. We're coming out of that, and now we're actually starting to see windows kind of being developed again. They took a back seat probably for about 3 years, just trying to maintain with getting products from, whether it's overseas or locally, to produce the windows, to produce the shower doors. Now they're getting back into finding new ways of making them better. We constantly see new patio doors, for example. You want more of the French style look to it. In a sliding patio door, we can do those heavier rails, or multi-opening bifold doors to open up your deck. We're starting to see a lot more technology come back into play now that we've all caught back up with supply chain issues and all that. So
yeah,
I'm excited for the next 5-10 years to see what else we can come up with.
For new construction projects, I don't mean just business buildings, office buildings, but homes. Talk about the significance of windows in the building process. They play a much bigger role in the early stages than most people might realize, I think.
Well, so yeah, you have to know when you're building the project what size limitations you can have, how much glass. A lot of times we see people want to do the views of the mountains, and so you really need to know how much glass or how much area you can put a window into as far as framing, structural, all that good stuff. So even in the early stages when you're planning that's when you need to involve an architect or a window and door specialist to be able to know how big you can go. Same with shower doors. You have to know how big that glass can go. It looks beautiful, but it has its limitations as to structure and ability to be efficient. So those are the main things that you need to involve us in the early stages when you're planning your new construction.
It probably doesn't mean a lot to many customers, and I'm not asking you to do an endorsement here, but are there any product lines, name brands that you are particularly pleased to be carrying, and if so, why?
On our commercial side, Conair has been an aluminum provider that we do our storefront doors, our curtain walls, our storefront windows. They have been around since it seems like the beginning of time. Everywhere you look in Missoula or the United States, you always see an old Conair door because it's lasted for so long. They have a great distribution chain. They have great customer service. We're able to get the storefronts in a timely manner, and they look great. I mean, it's a good company to work for. Mostly because of their customer service, but they're a great product that lasts a long time. Other options or other areas are Holcomb shower doors. For years, they've been able to master how to package shower doors more efficiently to not have scratches. I mean, that's the big thing is when transporting glass, it can get scratches. So they've gotten a lot better as far as packaging to get those to our shop so that we can get them to your homes without having flaws and defects to them.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate here on News Talk KGVO. My guest, Brian Dirnberger, owner of Montana Glass. You brought this up a little while ago, and you and I talked about this 13 months ago. Things were far from rosy back then for you, and you still have to manage expectations, but you just want to make sure customers are up to date on supply chains, just like so many industries, it sounds to me like you're seeing some positives there.
Well, think nationwide things are starting to return a little bit towards more of a normalcy, where we're looking at less than 3 months to get products.
Well, compared to what, 12, 13, 15
Exactly.
months before?
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, there was at one time we heard wood windows got up to almost a year lead time.
Right.
We're definitely more in a area of 3 to 4 months for that. But shower doors with contractors trying to build houses or remodel bathrooms, the shower doors are back down to just 2 to 3 weeks. We're still looking a little bit as far as a labor deficit. I mean, and I think Missoula sees this overall, that people moving here aren't typically the labor ready kind of people. They're more the consumer ready kind of people, retirees, remote workers. Mm-hmm. So with more people moving here to be able to handle the demand, we have less employees to be able to handle those services. So what we do is we pride ourselves on keeping our employees, not overwhelming everybody, scheduling ourselves out in an efficient manner to where we can still help as many people as we can with what workforce we have.
Yeah. Man, I'm liking your honesty and integrity on that answer. That's awesome. And you brought them up early in the show, but if you'd like to say a few more words about that Montana Glass team that you got there.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, about 15 to 20 years are some of the employees that have been around. John Hyde, I grew up with him when I was in high school. He was working there. Sean Knopp, he has been an installer. He's been an estimator. He runs the residential side right now. Nick Stiles has grown up there. He worked there in high school and now has gotten to the point where he's a project manager. Some new team members that I really enjoy are Dennis Espy. Picked him out of college. He was excited to just do something part-time during college, and he's now become our full-time head installer on the residential side. Justin Thies, he's our head commercial installer. If you have a puzzle, he knows how to put it together. He is phenomenal and surprises me every day on how he puts some of those parts and pieces together. So yeah, my team's pretty special, and I really appreciate all they've done and hope to keep them around for a long time.
Oh, that is well said. Good for you. That is just amazing. As you know, I always like to ask about success stories, any projects. You mentioned this a little bit, but just take it further. Any projects you've been involved in recently that gave you a lot of extra satisfaction being the owner of Montana Glass?
Yeah, commercial projects that I see all over town that I know I've done from when I started in '99 to now, I really enjoy. But it's those historical ones, the Ladani Ranch, the 9 Mile Ranger Station. Those are going to be my favorites. There's going to be a lot of projects too that nobody's ever going to see because they're way off the grid and back in the woods. Yeah. But we've done an excellent job there. There was a ranch down in French Basin that we did a bunch of steel glass windows for it sits right next to the elk range, and it's a beautiful house that unless you're way up there, you'll never see it. But those are some fun projects. I mean, just knowing what we put out there. Another good example, too, of something nobody will ever see unless they're in trouble is we did the detention center about 25 years ago. There is a lot of security glass in that place that
have to be.
You don't notice as you drive by.
No.
But you'll notice it if you're ever in the facility. It's just every window has some kind of security rating. That was a lot of fun putting that together and seeing how it came together.
Yeah. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. My guest this week has been Brian Dirnberger. Brian's the owner of Montana Glass here in Missoula. Been around Missoula since what year did you say?
I got into it in '99, but our family's owned it since 1985.
And it had been in business a while before that?
Since 1971, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Since 71. Oh, my goodness. Hey, anything I missed that you want to make sure we get out on the radio this weekend, Brian?
Nope, I think that was great. Thanks so much, Danny. Right. I appreciate it.
Well, let's go over location, contact information, hours, website, everything we need to know as far as getting a hold of Montana Glass.
You bet. It's Montana Glass, 550 Hawthorne Street.
There it is, yeah.
We're just off of Broadway next to the Yolks Fresh Market. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You're more than welcome to look at our products at our website, montanaglass.biz. It's been just a joy working in Missoula for so many years, and look forward to several more.
Outstanding. Congratulations on a great business, and thanks for coming on back to Missoula Real Estate Today.
Yeah, thank you, Denny. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@windermere.com, or for a complete directory of Diane's listings, visit movetomissoula.com. That's move2, Missoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.